Stop. The moment the searchlight fell on us, the whole world froze. We were barely 10 meters from the Tumen River. Just as Chinese soil came into sight, the guard's shouts ripped through the night. My mother's hand gripped my arm tightly. I can still feel that trembling as if it were yesterday. Run! My mother screamed, and we ran. But it was already too late. Bang! The first gunshot. The wind of the bullet brushed past my ear. Bang! Bang! The dirt at my feet burst upward. My breath rose all the way up to my throat. I could hear the sound of the river. We had almost made it. If we could just go a little farther, just a little more. That was when it happened. My mother stepped in front of me. No! The gunshot rang out before my scream. Thud! With a dull sound, my mother's body lurched forward and collapsed. Don't shoot! Don't shoot! I ran to my mother. I no longer saw the guards raising their guns again or the searchlight shining down on us. All I could see was my mother. She was bleeding. Her chest was turning red, soaking through. Mom! Mom! When I called her, my mother opened her eyes. With a trembling hand, she gently stroked my face. Go! Her voice was barely audible. Mom! No! Get up! Please get up! Go now! My mother's hand pushed against my back. With that weak strength, she put her entire life into that one push to send me away. I said go. Those were the last words my mother ever said to me. In October 2006, at the age of 21, I crossed the Tumen River alone, leaving my mother behind on its bank. Since that day, I haven't had a single night of peaceful sleep. What I'm about to tell you now is the story of how I came to that moment, and why my mother sacrificed her life to save mine.
The earliest image I remember of my mother is her back as she left for the market at 4 in the morning. Anson was a border town at the very edge of North Hamgyong province, touching China. After my father passed away, my mother started doing business to feed the two of us after the state rations stopped. She sold tofu, taffy, and sometimes even goods smuggled in from China. Minso, go to school and study well. She would always say that and gently stroke my hair. She herself could not afford even a bowl of noodles, yet she never failed to pack a lunch for me. But what we learned at school wasn't really study. Thanks to the benevolence of our great leader, we live happily today. Every morning, we bowed before the portraits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. During self-criticism sessions, we criticized one another, and the class leader recorded everything everyone said. When I was 15, a classmate once said, I heard there's a lot of meat in China, and then he disappeared. After that, we all kept our mouths shut. I often wonder what my mother thought when she saw me like that. In the winter of my 16th year, my mother secretly pressed something into my hand. It was a 100 yuan Chinese banknote. Minso, this is emergency money. Never use it. Hide it somewhere safe. Mom, where did you? Don't ask. Just keep it. My mother's hands were rough, cracked and scarred from working outside in the cold, buying and selling goods. She had spent months saving up that 100 yuan. At the time in North Korea, 100 yuan was enough to buy 10 kilograms of rice. Why are you saving this? So I can send you away, at least you. That was when I realized my mother had a plan to send me first to China, and then to South Korea someday. Mom, you should come with me. I'm already old. It's enough if you go. Number, I won't go without you. My mother didn't answer. She just stroked my hair in silence. When I turned 20, I went to the army. In North Korea, military service is a duty no man can avoid. The standard term was 10 years, but if you paid a bribe, you could have it reduced to 7. My mother once again gathered money just to make it 7 years. The night before I enlisted, my mother held my hand. Minso, you have to endure it there. Just hold on for 7 years. Then what? Then we'll live together. From this place, tears welled up in her eyes. I had never seen my mother cry in my entire life. The army was hell. 2 meals a day, corn rice and salted water soup. No heating in the winter, malaria in the summer. I even saw a soldier who tried to desert being executed in public. But I endured it, because of the promise I made with my mother. 7 years later, I was discharged. At 21, I returned home a young man reduced to skin and bones. In that time, my mother had grown even older. Her hair had turned half white, her back hunched over. But the way she looked at me was exactly the same as before. Minsu, you're back, Mom. Now let's get ready to go. My mother had already prepared everything: contact with the broker, the route across the border, even the hiding place in China. For 7 years she had been waiting for me and preparing for our escape. Mom, how did you get the money? Don't worry, I've got it all together. I didn't ask what she'd done to raise that money. I didn't want to know. I only saw that her hands had become even rougher, that she coughed at night, and sometimes spat blood. Mom, are you sick? Number, I'm fine, but she wasn't fine. She was already ill. Even so, she put her health aside and devoted herself only to preparing my escape. In 2006年9月, my mother said, "Let's go next month. The broker says he's ready. Mom, let's go to the hospital first. We'll go to the hospital after we get to South Korea. I heard medical care is free there." She smiled as she said it, but I knew the pain hidden behind that smile. On 10月15号, we left our home. We didn't take much with us, just a few changes of clothes, the money my mother had saved, and a single photograph of my father. My mother stared at the picture for a long time, then tucked it into her breast. "Dear, we raised our son well, didn't we? Now I'm taking him with me." Hearing her murmur those words, my chest tightened. We slipped into the night and headed toward the Tumen River. It was a spot the broker had pointed out as being weakly guarded. The river itself wasn't far, but the road to get there was rough and difficult. "Minsu, are you tired? Number, what about you, Mom?" "I'm fine," but her breathing was rough. She walked a few steps, stopped, then walked again, over and over. "Mom, let's rest for a while." "Number, we don't have time. We have to cross before dawn." We kept walking. In the pitch-black darkness, my mother and I gripped each other's hands tightly and moved forward. And finally, we saw the Tumen River. We could hear the sound of the water. We could see China. It looked as if freedom and hope were right there in front of us. "Minsu, just a little further. Just a little more and we'll be there." There was strength in my mother's voice. We took our final steps toward the riverbank. And then it happened. The searchlight swept over us. To be honest, the first time I wanted to leave North Korea wasn't because of my mother. It was when I was 19, serving in the army. That day was Kim Jong-il's birthday. The entire unit swore loyalty, and for once, we even had meat for dinner. But after the meal, we were suddenly ordered to assemble. "There is a traitor among you." The political officer's voice rang out coldly. A soldier was dragged out. It was Kim Chao, from my squad. He was 20, a year older than me, just an ordinary young man. "Do you know what this man has done?" The officer waved a piece of paper in the air. A letter he tried to send to his relatives in China. In that instant, the whole unit froze. Any contact with China was considered treason. "I'll read you the contents. Uncle, we are starving. The rations stopped long ago, and my mother has fallen ill. Please help us." The officer tore the letter to shreds. Is this what a revolutionary warrior should do? This is insulting the motherland and betraying our leader. Kim Chao fell to his knees. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." But there was no forgiveness. A week later, Kim Chao was executed in public. The entire unit was forced to watch. Gunshots rang out, and he collapsed. That is the fate of a traitor. When I heard the officer say that, I realized something. In this place, even crying out about hunger was a crime. How could such a place be normal? That night, I couldn't sleep. The words from Kim Chul's letter kept echoing in my mind. "We are starving." It wasn't a lie. It was the reality every one of us was living through. But speaking that reality out loud was a crime. 2 more years passed in the army, and then there was another incident. One night, while I was on guard duty, I saw the lights of a Chinese village across the river. Houses lit up brightly, street lamps along the road, and music drifting from somewhere. The senior soldier next to me muttered, "Jealous, aren't you, sir? Over there, China, they say people eat their fill and live freely. Senior, if someone hears you say that, I know, but it's the truth, isn't it?" He gave a bitter, lonely smile. "What are we? 2 meals a day of corn rice, no medicine even when we're sick, not even a proper leave. And they call this the people's paradise. Senior, scared, gonna report me." "No, sir, then it's fine, we're all in the same boat anyway." He was right, we all knew it. We knew this wasn't any kind of paradise. We knew we were being deceived. But no one said it out loud. Because the moment you spoke it, you were as good as dead. When I returned home after discharge, my mother's condition had worsened. "Mom, let's go to the hospital." "Minsu, do you know how much a hospital visit costs?" In North Korea, we were taught that hospitals were free. But reality was different. You had to pay for the consultation, for the medicine, even for the syringe itself. To have surgery, you had to bribe the doctor. "I'll earn the money." "You, how?" But there was no way. There were no rations, no jobs. Even to start a small business, you needed seed money. One day, my mother coughed up blood. "Mom, I'm fine." There was no way she was fine. She had developed a lung disease. To get the medicine she needed, we would need at least 100 yuan in Chinese money. For the first time, I fully realized it. In this country, there was no way to save my mother. Then my mother said, "Minsu, let's leave this place." "Mom, I was going to send you alone, but look at me now. I think we'll have to go together." To China, number 2 South Korea. South Korea named Joseon. In North Korea, even the word itself was taboo. We were taught it was an American colony, a living hell, a place we had to liberate. But my mother was different. "Minsu, through my trading, I've met many people. People who've been to China, people who sell goods from South Korea. And they all say South Korea is different. Hospital care is free, food is enough, and people are treated like human beings." Is that really true? Who knows? But it has to be better than here. There was a fierce light in her eyes. "Minsu, I want to see you live like a human being. Not starving, not being watched all the time. Able to say what you want, do what you want." Is that really such a big thing to ask for? I couldn't answer. That night, I sat for a long time. About Kim Chul's death, the lights of the Chinese village, my mother wasting away, and this life with no future in this land. If we stayed, my mother would die. I might end up like Kim Chul. But if we tried to escape and work out, it would mean a political prison camp or execution. There were only 2 choices. Wait for death, or risk death and run. "Mom, let's go to South Korea." She took my hand. "Thank you, Minsu." "Mom, I'll protect you. I'll get you to South Korea alive. I promise." My mother said nothing, just nodded quietly. And then, we began to prepare. Preparing to escape North Korea was far more complicated than I had imagined. The first thing we needed was a broker. Alone, it was impossible to cross the border. We needed someone who knew the guard's patrol schedule, the safest crossing points, and the hiding places in China. My mother contacted a broker through someone she knew from her trading work. "It's 1,000 yuan per person." The broker's demand was enormous. At that time in North Korea, 1,000 yuan could buy 100 kilograms of rice. For 2 people, that was 2,000 yuan, an amount we could never earn even after years of work. That much. My mother was shocked, but the broker replied coldly, "If you don't like it, forget it. I'm risking my life. This is the price. All right, we'll gather it." From that day on, my mother worked like a madwoman. She woke up at 4, went to the market, and worked until late at night. She secretly sold Chinese goods, made and sold homemade liquor, and even risked crossing the river to bring goods back from China. Mom, if you get caught, I'll be careful. But of course, she wasn't safe. One day, she was taken by the security police caught selling Chinese goods. I ran to the station to save her. Please let my mother go. I'll take her punishment, the officer snorted. What can you do? If you brought something, hand it over. A bribe. I ran home and grabbed the money my mother had hidden. She won everything we had saved over 3 months of backbreaking work. This is all we have. The officer counted it and clicked his tongue. Only this. Fine, take her. My mother was released, but our savings were gone. Mom, I'm sorry about the money. Number, you did well. She smiled and stroked my head. We'll earn it again. We still have time. But we didn't. My mother's illness was worsening rapidly. 4 months later, we finally gathered the money we needed. In 2006年9月, my mother contacted the broker. The money is ready. Good. We'll meet next month on the 第15 at night. I'll tell you the location later. From that day, our real preparations began. The first thing we did was clean the house. If we suddenly disappeared, the neighbors would get suspicious. What should we tell them? Let's say a sick relative in Incheon needs care. We're going to help. Okay, we couldn't even tell our neighbors the truth, nor say goodbye to people we'd lived beside for more than 10 years. That night, my mother came into my room. Minsu, are you asleep? No, I can't sleep. Me neither. She sat next to me. Are you scared? Yes, very scared. I'm scared too. Her hands were trembling. Minsu, if we fail we might die. I know, you still want to go. Yes, if it's with you, I can go anywhere. She hugged me tightly. Thank you, you give me strength. Me too, Mom. On 10月14号, the day before departure, my mother slowly walked through the house. The house we'd lived in for over 20 years. The house where I was born and raised. The house filled with my father's traces. I'm sorry, dear, she whispered at my father's photo. I'm leaving you behind, but I have to take our son. We can't survive here. She looked at the photo a long time, then tucked it into her chest. Let's go together, dear. That night was my last night in that room. I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about all 21 years of my life. Hunger, surveillance, fear, but also friends, neighbors, and my father's grave. We had to leave everything behind. Was it really the right choice? Could we truly make it to China alive? Was South Korea really the place my mother said it was? The more I thought, the more fear grew. But one thing was certain. If we stayed here, my mother would die. That meant there was only one answer. On the evening of 10月15号, we left home. We carried only a few clothes, a little money, and my father's photograph. Over 20 years of life wrapped in a small bundle. Minsu, are you ready? Yes, Mom, then let's go. We walked into the darkness. We never looked back. If we turned around, we feared we might lose our resolve. The place the broker had told us to meet was deep in the mountains on the outskirts of Wonsong. At 10 p.m., when we arrived at the spot, the broker was already waiting. You're here? Yes. You brought the money, right? My mother took the money from inside her jacket and handed it to him. He carefully counted it and nodded. Good. Then we move now. Right now? Yeah. We have to hit the guard shift change. If we reach the river around 2 in the morning, that's perfect. We followed the broker along a mountain path. The road was rough steep slopes, rocks underfoot, and total darkness. My mother kept stumbling, nearly losing her footing again and again. Mom, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay, but her breathing was rough. Every step looked painful. Wait, please, let's rest a little. When I said that, the broker answered coldly. There's no time to rest. If we're late, the shift change is over. But, no buts, I'm doing this for money. You do what I say. I held my mother up and kept walking. Mom, I'll carry you on my back. No, it's fine. I can still walk. Mom, Minsu, your mother still has enough strength to carry you, you know. She forced a smile and started walking again. Maybe 3 hours passed. At last, we heard the sound of flowing water. We're here. That's the Tumen River. Where the broker pointed, a dark strip of water was flowing. If we cross that, is it China? Yeah, on the other side is freedom. I looked at my mother. She looked back at me. Let's go, Minsu. Yes, Mom. We held hands, and we walked toward the river. It happened in that exact moment. Stop. A searchlight dropped from the sky and swallowed us whole. The broker cursed. We're screwed, it's the guards. Run, someone shouted. And in an instant everything fell into chaos. Minsu, my mother grabbed my arm. Run, to the river. We ran. Bang, the first gunshot tore through the darkness. If you don't stop, we'll shoot. The guards' shots echoed behind us. But we couldn't stop. If we stopped, it was over. Bang, bang, bullets grazed our feet, dirt exploding at our heels. Mom, stay focused. Keep running. My heart felt like it would burst. My lungs were tearing apart. But my legs didn't stop. The river came into view. 10 meters, no, 5. We were almost there. Just a little more. My mother shouted. And then it happened. She stepped in front of me. Bang! With the gunshot, her body lurched forward. Mom, time stopped. She fell to her knees. Blood spilled from her chest, soaking her black clothes, making them even darker. Don't shoot, don't shoot. I ran to her. Behind us, I could hear the guards' boots pounding closer. The searchlight pinned us in its glare. But I saw nothing. All I could see was my mother. Mom, Mom, I held her in my arms. Her breathing was shallow and ragged. Her lips had turned a frightening shade of blue. Minsu, Mom, get up, please. Get up. No, I can't. Don't say that. We'll get you to a hospital. You can live. But she shook her head. You have to go. Number, I won't go without you. Her trembling hand stroked my cheek. You idiot, if you stay here we'll both die. Then let's die together. Number, she gathered what little strength she had left and shouted. Minsu, listen to your mother, you have to go. Mom, behind us. The guards' voices got closer. Hand up, don't move. Their footsteps approached 30 meters, 20. My mother grabbed my collar. Now you have to go cross the river. How can I leave you here? I'll be fine, you have to leave. Tears burst out of me. In 21 years of life, it was the first time I truly cried. Mom, please. Tears filled her eyes as well. I'm sorry, Minsu, for not being a better mother. What are you talking about? You're the best. Mom, you were a good son. I was always proud of you. The guards were now only 10 meters away. This is your last warning. Hand up. My mother used the last of her strength to push me hard on the back. Go, now, Mom, go, please, just this once, do what I ask. Her voice was full of desperate pleading. Minsu, please live freely in my place. Mom, go now, go. Her hand slipped off my back. I love you, my son. Those were the last words my mother ever said to me. We're shooting. The guards raised their guns. I stood up. I'm sorry, Mom. I turned my back and ran. I couldn't stop the tears or the screams rising in my throat. But my legs kept moving. Bang, bang, gunshots exploded behind me. I threw myself into the river. Water as cold as ice wrapped around my entire body. Still, I kept swimming. I stroked with my arms, kicked with my legs. The current was strong, dragging me downstream. My chest burned, my breath caught in my throat. But I didn't give up. This was the chance my mother had but with her life. This was her final wish. So I just kept swimming. My arms turned to stone, my legs went numb, my mind faded. Even so, I swam. And finally, My hand touched ground. The opposite riverbank, China. I crawled up onto the shore. There was no strength left in my body. My soaked clothes felt as if they would freeze solid. Even so, I turned around. On the other side of the river, the searchlight still swept the bank. In that harsh light, I could see a small, still shape. My mother, my unmoving mother. Mom, I dropped to my knees. Mom, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Tears flowed like a river. Mom, I'm sorry, I survived alone. But my mother didn't answer. She would never answer again. I don't know how long I knelt there. All I know is that when dawn began to break, someone shook my shoulder. Get up. If you stay here, the Chinese public security will catch you. It was a Korean Chinese accent. You have to go. Quickly. I got to my feet. For the last time, I looked across the river. The place where my mother had been was already empty. Goodbye, Mom. I turned away, and I walked, to stay alive, so that my mother's sacrifice would not be in vain. China was not freedom. The man who saved me was a Korean Chinese named Mr. Kim. In his MID-50S, he said he helped North Korean defectors. You can't stay here long. The Public Security Bureau patrols. He led me to a barn on a rural farm. Hide here for a few days, until the next move is ready. The barn was dark and cramped. Rats darted between straw piles. The smell of mold and animals filled the air. But I couldn't feel anything. All I could see was my mother's face. The moment she fell, her last words, the small silhouette across the river. Mom, I curled up in the straw and cried. Silently, shaking, crying until there were no tears left. When I opened my eyes again, it was night. Mr. Kim came into the barn. Get up, eat. He handed me a bowl of rice and kimchi. Eat. You need strength to survive. I picked up the spoon, but I couldn't swallow. Each grain felt like sand. You come alone, Mr. Kim asked. I came with my mother. Where is she? She was shot. Mr. Kim sighed deeply. I see you went through hell. It's my fault. I should have saved her. It's not your fault. No, she died because of me. My voice trembled. Mr. Kim placed a hand on my shoulder. She died so you could live. But still, no buts. Now you have to live. For her too. I lowered my head. He pushed the bowl closer to me. Eat. That's the first thing you can do. I slowly began to eat. 1 spoonful, 2, 3. It stuck in my throat. But I swallowed. My mother had worked her entire life to feed me. I couldn't waste that food. Good, Mr. Kim nodded. In a few days, I'll send you to the next location. Someone else will help you there. Where am I going? South Korea. The place you wanted. South Korea. The place my mother longed for. How long will it take? With luck, a few months. Without luck, a year. A year. I would have to endure it alone. A month passed like that. Days of hiding, running, and enduring. Then one day, a message finally came. Next week, you'll be moving south. Get ready. At last, the road to South Korea had opened. But at the same time, fear rose within me. What meaning would there be in arriving in South Korea without my mother? That night, I looked up at the sky. The stars were shining. Mom, I'm going to South Korea now. The place you longed to go so much. The stars did not answer. I'll live well, for your share too. I promise. The wind blew. It felt like my mother's reply. The road from China down south was long and harsh. We moved by bus, train, and truck, one after another. We had to reach the Vietnamese border, then go to Laos, and from Laos to Thailand. Why are we going such a roundabout way? I asked, and the broker guiding us replied. If you go straight to the South Korean embassy, the Chinese public security will block you. That's why we have to pass through Southeast Asia. How long will it take? About a month, if you're unlucky, 2. It was a long journey. On the bus, I stared out the window. The scenery of China slid by. Tall buildings, wide roads, streets bright even at night. It was so completely different from North Korea. Mom, look, this place has developed so much. I whispered in my heart. I wish you could see this too. My chest tightened. 10 days later, we reached the Vietnamese border. From here on, it's really dangerous. The broker warned us. If they catch you crossing the border, it's over. Be careful. We crossed the border at midnight, climbing over fences, pushing through forests, wading across rivers. That night we crossed. The memory of crossing the Tumen River came back to me. Mom, tears welled up, but I held them back. There was no time left for crying. From Vietnam we moved on to Laos, and then from Laos to Thailand. On the way, we met many other defectors. A 25-year-old woman said she had escaped with her father, but lost him along the way. A man in his 40s said his entire family had tried to defect, but he alone survived. An 18-year-old boy had escaped by himself. His parents were still in North Korea. Everyone had left something or someone behind. We're all the same. One night, a woman said, "We survived, but it doesn't really feel like living." I nodded. It was true. Our bodies were alive, but a part of our hearts was still standing on the banks of the Tumen River. After a month, we finally arrived in Thailand. We stayed at a small place in Bangkok waiting for the call from the South Korean embassy. The embassy should contact you soon. Once they do, you'll be protected. Just as the broker said, a call came 3 days later. Go to the embassy tomorrow. At last the moment had come. The next morning, we headed to the South Korean embassy. A tall iron gate, the Taegukji flag, armed guards. Come in. The gate opened. At that very moment, tears welled up. Mom, we made it. We really made it this far. An embassy officer guided us inside. You've been through so much. You're safe now. The moment I heard those words, all strength escaped from my body. 2 months of fear, tension, and constant danger seemed to melt away at once. I sank to the ground and cried. Mom, Mom. A staff member gently tapped my shoulder. It's okay. You're safe now. We stayed at the embassy for a week. Identity checks, interviews, documentation of the procedures followed. Do you have family? I had my mother. Where is she now? She passed away at the Tumen River. The officer's expression darkened. I'm so sorry. It's okay. I made it here because of her. When the procedures were complete, we finally received our plane tickets to South Korea. You will depart in 2 days. Thank you. 2 days later, I went to the airport. It was the first time in my life I had ever seen an airplane up close. It was something unimaginable back in North Korea. Please board. I entered the plane and sat by the window. The engine roared. The aircraft began to move. And soon we rose into the sky. Above the clouds, another world. Mom, I'm in the sky right now. I whispered as I watched the clouds outside. The world looks so large from up here. I wish you could see it too. 4 hours later, an announcement echoed through the cabin. We will soon be landing at Incheon International Airport. My heart pounded. I had finally reached South Korea. The plane touched down. The door opened. I stood up and began walking down the aisle. I followed the hallway toward immigration. I saw a sign, Republic of Korea Immigration. Tears began to fall. Mom, I'm here. This is the South. I went through the immigration procedure. Are you a North Korean defector? Yes. Do you have a passport? Number? I see. Please wait for a moment. Soon, a representative from the Ministry of Unification approached me. Come with me. We're heading to Hanwon. Hanwon. It's where you receive resettlement education. You'll be able to enter society in about 3 months. I nodded. We left the airport and got into a car. Outside the window, the scenery of Seoul unfolded. Tall buildings, complex roads, countless cars, bright signs even at night. Mom, this really is another world. I whispered in my heart. Just like you said, people live freely here. We arrived at Hanwon. You'll stay here for a while. Everything you need will be provided. I entered the room. A bed, a desk, a closet. Small, but clean and warm. I opened the window. A gentle breeze flowed in. Mom, even the wind here feels warm. I looked up at the sky. If only you were here. If only you could feel this wind with me. That night, I slept soundly for the first time in 2 months. A night without being haunted. I dreamed. My mother appeared. She was smiling. You did well, Minsu. From now on, live happily. When I woke up, tears were running down my cheeks. Yes, Mom, I'll live happily. I promise. The 3 months at Hanwon were a time of learning an entirely new world. The first thing we learned was South Korean language usage. Even though it was the same Korean, so many things were different. We don't say comrade, we say friend. We don't say the great leader. We say the president. It's not ration, it's salary. I learned them one by one. There were also computer classes. In North Korea, I had never touched a computer in my life. You move the mouse like this. This is how you use the internet. It felt like magic, a small machine that could show you the entire world. I searched North Korean news online for the first time. There were many articles about defectors. A North Korean defector shot dead at the border. My hands trembled. Among them was my mother too. Of course, her name was not there. North Korea never publishes such things. I also received psychological counseling. It must have been very hard for you. The counselor said softly, yes, is there anything you'd like to share? I hesitated for a long time, then slowly began to speak. My mother was shot in front of me. She shielded me with her body. My throat tightened. It's my fault. If only I had run ahead. No, the counselor held my hand. It wasn't your fault. Your mother chose to protect you. But, no buts, your survival was her wish. I nodded slowly, but healing was not easy. At night, my mother appeared in my dreams. Her falling body, the blood, her final words. Go now. I often woke drenched in cold sweat. After graduating from Hanwon, I received my settlement support money and rented a small studio apartment. It was the first home I ever had under my own name. Mom, I finally have my own place. I whispered toward the wall. It's small, but it's warm. I wish you were here too. I went to the supermarket for the first time. I was shocked. There was food everywhere. Rice, meat, fruit, snacks, drinks. A sight impossible in North Korea. Mom, this place is truly another world. I went home and cooked white rice. In North Korea, white rice was something you ate only on holidays. The moment I took the first bite, tears fell. Mom, you should have been the one eating this. I ate slowly, one spoon at a time. Each spoonful was my mother's entire life. I got a job, a factory job. I received my first paycheck. On payday, I went to a church. Religion was forbidden in North Korea. But here, it was free. I want to pray for my mother. The pastor guided me to a seat. Pray, God will hear you. I knelt down. Mom, I'm living well, because of you. Tears fell. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. You brought me this far. A year passed. I grew used to life in South Korea. I made friends, other defectors. We're in the same boat. I'm glad we came here. Freedom feels good. Freedom. I finally understood what that meant. Saying what I want, going where I want, eating what I want, being able to dream. That was freedom. I began studying for the high school equivalency exam. You're going to study? A friend asked. Yeah, I want to go to college. College? People like us, why not? Here. If you work hard, you can make it. My friend laughed. Yeah, you're right. I studied every night. Math, English, Korean, social studies, science. It was difficult, but I didn't give up. Mom, I'm studying now. The education you couldn't receive, I'll receive it for you. A year later, I passed the exam. I passed. My friends congratulated me. That's amazing. So you're going to apply for college? Yeah, I'm going to try. I prepared the documents. North Korean defectors had a special admission track. This is a chance. I really want to succeed. On the day of the interview, why do you want to go to college? A professor asked. I took a deep breath and answered slowly. Because my mother risked her life to bring me here. I don't want her sacrifice to be wasted. I want to live properly. I want to learn, grow, and someday help others. The professor nodded. That's wonderful. Congratulations, you're accepted. Really? Yes, you will do well. I became a college student. My major was social welfare. I want to help North Korean defectors. During my first class, my chest burned with emotion. Mom, I'm a college student now. I'm living the life you dreamed of for me. I am now 31. After graduating from college, I work at an organization that helps North Korean defectors. Every day, I meet new defectors and listen to their stories. It must have been so hard. But you're safe now. This is a free country. I pass on the same words. My mother once said to me, what you need to do now is to live well. One day, a young man came to me. I escaped with my mother, but she was shot. I survived alone. It's all my fault. He broke down in tears. I placed my hand on his shoulder. It's not your fault, but your mother chose to save you. And what you need to do now is to live the way she wanted you to live. The young man looked up at me. Then how should I live? One day at a time. Slowly, move forward little by little. Remember your mother, but don't stay trapped in the past. I smiled. I walked the same path. You can do it too. Every 10月15号, I remember the Tumen River, the gunshots of that night, my mother's final words, and the moment I swam across the river. Mom, are you doing well over there? I look up at the sky. I'm living well, just as you wished, free and happy. A breeze passes by, just like my mother's hand. Mom, I love you. Now, I understand clearly. My mother's sacrifice was never in vain. The fact that I am alive, that I can smile, that I am helping others, all of that is proof of her love. I will remember her for the rest of my life, and live exactly as she hoped, freely, with dignity, and becoming someone who gives hope to others. That is the greatest gift I can offer my mother.